Hey guys, how's it going? Scott here with Seymour Duncan, and right now we're here with the mighty Ace Bergman, Slash's guitar tech. Do you have a business card?
I'm terminally out of business. I've been meaning to get new ones made for about 4 years.
Okay, that's pretty good. So the reason we have Ace here is because when we deal with artists here at Seymour Duncan, it's usually a family. Everyone knows Slash, but not everyone knows that there's a family kind of behind Slash that Seymour Duncan has a relationship with. There's guitar techs like Ace, there's management. So when you see big guys that are Seymour Duncan artists, we're not just friends with the artists, we're friends with the family too. So that's why we wanted to introduce you all to Ace, because he's a great guy, and talk to you about like kind of the behind the scenes. So Ace, how did you get involved with Slash?
How'd I get involved with Slash? Well, one of my roommates works with Cypress Hill, and I mean, I've been a guitar tech for years before this, but I happened to be in town while Cypress Hill was doing their 20th anniversary show, and they called some friends of theirs to play backup on the few songs, Slash being one of them. And so I came in, did a rehearsal with him, and then did the show with him, and he and I kind of hit it off. So he asked me if I was in town, and I think I did manage to find a business card that day. And he just kept calling me back. So
okay.
And I've been with him for about a year and a half now. Maybe a little more.
Okay, so what was like your first duty with Slash?
Well, after the Cypress Hill thing, he and I did, I think the next thing we did was the roast to Charlie Sheen.
Oh wow, okay.
So that was a lot of fun, of course. And then that was right about, I think maybe we did one or two other similar events, and then that was right about when they were starting to go into the studio for Apocalyptic Love. So he brought me all the guitars that he wanted to use on Apocalyptic Love for me to go through. And then I brought the Derrick, the #1 up here. And
That's
then,
right. Mm-hmm.
And then we went through the pickups. Seymour was very helpful with all of that. And as always. And you know, we got that guitar back up and running, and then, you know, we did the album, and then a couple more little, you know, odds and ends things, little studio appearances and charity events and whatnot. And then I picked up for the tour, and I've been pretty much married to his guitars ever since.
That's not a bad, that's an envious job. A lot of people, you know, when you were 13, you probably didn't know you were going to be handling Slash's guitars every day.
No, I handled his CDs every day.
Okay.
When I was 13.
That's the other thing. A lot of times with these legendary artists, a lot of the guys working for them, you don't know that someday you're going to be working for Slash, or you're going to be. I didn't know I'd be working for Seymour Duncan. I thought I'd be in prison. Okay, so you just got off the road. You did a European leg of the tour.
That was our third European leg of the Apocalyptic Love Tour.
Apocalyptic Love Tour. Okay, so what's it like touring in Europe versus the U.S.?
The tour buses there you can't stand up in. They're shorter. Well, they're double decker, so the bus is taller, but you always have to stand with either your neck crooked, and then if you open the back hatch, there's a place where I can stand where everybody's supposed to smoke. If you open the hatch, the emergency escape, I can stand up there, and all the, you know, smoke from other people like kind of wafts past me. Oh, and I could stand up in the stairwell. But other than that, you're like got your neck cranked all the time. Also touring in Europe, the language barrier goes from anywhere from no problem at all. Like there's countries where all the locals are speaking English to each other. I speak English and Spanish really well. I've been meaning to learn more languages, and I've picked up bits and pieces, but it's hard to pick a specific language and saying, you know, I've been to 20 countries in the last 5 weeks, so picking one of those languages is kind of a tough choice. But, you know, the language barrier can go from anywhere from, you know, like being at home to like trying to work with a school of fish.
Okay, and then like when you go to the venues, is there problems with electricity? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, most of our gear is 110 power.
Okay.
So we have to do transformers, which could be anywhere from not a big deal, you know, places that do a lot of US shows or get a lot of acts through there. It all depends on pretty much the experience level of the local venue and crews. You know, places that get, you know, if we're one of 5 acts in there that week, they've got their stuff together and they know what's going on. If we're playing a show in a city that we play shows in cities I've never heard of.
Okay.
And, you know, you'll get guys in there that are working the day that have never seen a road case, or, you know, when we were in Russia, I opened up, you know, my Marshall cabinets live in a case facing each other. And, you know, I took one, I put it in place, I said, the other one goes over here with it. And this guy comes out, takes out my Marshall cabinet, puts him face to face with a big smile on it, like, yeah. Like, oh, you've never seen a full stack before? I mean,
okay.
But but he meant well.
So it's like kind of like your duties get doubled when you're overseas sometimes.
Sort of. I mean, it's a lot more interesting touring overseas. Like, you know, doing U.S. tours, it's a lot of the same thing. Whereas, you know, in Europe, it's more scenic. You know, there's more interesting stuff when you walk outside the venue. In South America, it's like being in the Wild West.
Oh, okay.
You know, all bets are off. You know, I kind of like that.
So, like, okay, on a normal, like, tour, okay, so, because with Slash, when you're his guitar tech, you're basically, you're his guitar tech all day long.
Yeah.
You know, every day. It's not just for the tour, it's not just for an album, it's every day.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm pretty well signed on to working with him nonstop.
Okay. That's not a bad job, though.
No, there's certainly worse jobs.
Yeah.
And there's not having a job, which is not cool.
And if you're a musician, there's a good likelihood that could be your job, as being unemployed, too.
Yes. Yeah, when I had my band, I was a musician with my own band, and I lived in a garage with my singer and my drummer.
Yeah. So it's
and I'd go into the grocery store late at night with rolls and nickels to buy food.
Yeah, but that's part of the dream, I guess.
That's, you know, I knew that was going to be the case, and that's part of being in a band. And you know, in Europe, they subsidize people who are artists. And you can, you know, if you start a band, the government will give you X number of dollars to buy gear and get the ball rolling. Whereas, you know, in the States, when I had my band, one time, you know, we were on tour, and our merch guy and the merch guy from some opening band got into a fight, and they threw all of our money into a fire, which was like $73.
Right.
So, I mean, that was the money my band had.
Now your boss. So what are some things after working with him for a year and a half that most people wouldn't know, that you're allowed to say?
Most people wouldn't know. I mean, he's really open in interviews. If you know, he talks about his likes, snakes, dinosaurs. He's a really nice guy. He's really personable. I can't call him normal. He's a rock star by any measure of the imagination, but he's not a diva at all. You know, he's not. He's very hardworking. Okay. And, you know, maybe people think, you know, oh, rock stars just sit back and, you know, soak up money. But he earns, you know, his checks. He works nonstop. He's always doing something, always planning something, always playing guitar, always, you know, always working.
And that's the thing with Slash. He's always playing, right? He's not just, he doesn't like just show up for sound check and pick up a guitar. He's always practicing. He's always honing the craft.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he doesn't walk around with it strapped to his chest like some guys, you know, like, you know, Buckethead or somebody who can't, who has like some kind of anomaly, who can't put a guitar down. But no, he's always pushing himself and always practicing, and he does play you know, he sound checks every day, and they go up there and they'll go through a couple songs, work on some new stuff, and you know, they just for the love of playing, they'll play a few songs, you know. Okay. So.
And then what's like the biggest, for people that don't know, for being a guitar tech, like what's the biggest upside to your job, and what's the biggest like downside to being a guitar tech?
The upside is probably, you know, living the dream, seeing the world, and you know, starting off you won't make hardly any money, but there's the potential to make money. Right. And then, you know, you're taken care of. Like, you know, it's kind of like when I was in the Marines. You get a sheet that tells you everything you're going to do that day. As long as you can get all that stuff done, you're good, you know. People take care of me. People make sure I get fed. People make sure I get to and from where I need to be. You know, I get, you know, I have handlers myself. And that's kind of nice, you know, because I'm a bit on the scatterbrain side. Like on a stage, I'm a ninja. When it comes to getting myself through an airport, you know, I'm wandering around with my ticket in one hand, like, you know, my IQ just drops off a cliff. So it's nice to have people there who care about you. And, you know, being on a tour is a team. You know, we work as a big team. So, you know, me and the other backline guys, the dressing room guy, the tour manager, the production manager, the monitor guy, you know, it's like a family. Especially when you spend that much time together. And that's a real upside, is being part of a team and working like that and having people that always have your back. The downside is that, it's my whole life.
Yeah.
I don't, I make an effort when I'm home to stay in touch with some of my old friends, but it takes an effort to have any kind of normal life. My neighbors don't know who I am. I miss my cat for months at a time.
You don't leave it there, do you?
Well, my roommates take care of her.
That's very nice.
So, yeah, no, she's fed and, cared for, but, it's my cat and I'm gone. So.
And people probably ask you for tickets a lot, like...
Not so much for tickets is an LA thing. Okay. Everybody wants to get into a show in LA for free, which is why, we could sell out a arena in some city I've never heard of, but when we come home, everybody thinks they just need to get in for free. And, they have a just reason, but it's, that's where all your friends are.
Yeah.
But yeah, most fans and stuff know better than to try and get into shows for free. I mean, if I let everybody on the show for free, it would be a big charity organization, right. Which would, for the love of playing, if I'd rather, we'd rather do a show to people than sit there on our gear and not have anybody there, but it costs money to do what we do.
Yeah, doing on tour is it's an expensive venture. It's not, There's a lot of overhead and there's a lot of insurance and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up probably with, so what advice do you have for guys that want to become guitar techs or girls that want to become guitar techs? How do you even get involved? What's a good starting place?
I think there should be more girl guitar techs. I really do. There's not many at all. And, I know one or two, but I certainly think it would be cool if more girls... It's not a guys club, but it's all dudes.
Yeah, it just kind of turns out that way.
Yeah.
And then the vans smell horrible.
Yeah, well,
it's like
vans are always going to smell horrible. And that's the thing is, I say I want more girl guitar techs, but I don't know any girl I'd want to subject to being in a bus full of guys. Though I know plenty of women that I tour with that do a great job. But there's not a lot of women guitar techs. We have women. I've had awesome women tour managers, monitor engineers, front of house people. But just for some reason, I'd love to have more.
Yeah.
But anybody who wants to get started. Well, the way I started, a lot of guys start as a local stagehand, which is a good way to meet bands and kind of get your foot in the door. I started by going to a guitar building school. Well, I started as a guitar player and, just being curious, changing my own pickups. And, I've had a lifelong, love of tools and travel. So, it's certainly not for everyone. And, it's easy to look at the glamorous, I'm the guy walking next to Slash holding his guitar, but, it's not a weekend warrior thing.
Yeah.
It's a life. But yeah, if you want to get started, I went to a guitar building school where they'll give you a good foundation, but the difference between doing guitar repair, which is important, and being a guitar tech is sort of like, I compare it to being like a neighborhood mechanic to like a NASCAR mechanic.
Right.
Whereas, if a guitar repairman, you have till the guy's calling you bummed out to fix his guitar. When Slash's guitar goes down, I literally have thousands of eyes on me from that very moment, right. Including two glaring at me from a pair of Ray-Bans underneath a top hat that really expect things to happen immediately.
So you got to be good under pressure. Too.
Yeah, you have to be good under pressure. I was in the Marines, so I used to have a job where bullets would fly over my head. So, the pressure thing, it's just something you have to be able to deal with, but once you could deal with it, the fans aren't going to, jump the barricade and kill everybody because you broke a string, but you need to get it fixed, whatever happened. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and just, you have to just start. If you want to be a guitar tech, start by working with bands, meeting bands, playing guitar. Just don't pass up any opportunity to learn from people. Surround yourself with the best musicians, the best techs, the best repairmen you could find, and learn from them. There's no, set path. It's not like being a fireman.
You do have to have a love of peanut butter and jelly and ramen, though.
Yeah, you have to. If you want to be a tech, you're going to starve.
Okay.
That's the I had a job where I worked 5 days a week at a music store, and I was making about $150 a week.
Okay.
So it's a labor of love. You
But
know,
it can work out.
it can. Very rarely. I'm very lucky to have got where I am. I mean, you know, all the years of hard work which I put in, you know, had to have some luck mixed in with it to get me where I am.
Well, cool.
Because, you know, there's very few people. A lot of people want to do what I do, and there's a very small number of us that actually do get to do it.
That's okay. Well, it's nice to hear like a good luck story, a positive story,
And good luck.
story. Good luck too, right? So with Seymour Duncan, when you're here, your family. What restaurant says that? I don't know. We're probably gonna get a letter now. But that's really how it is here at Seymour Duncan. It's not just the artist.
If we could plug them, we could get free food. Whoever that is, they have great food.
It's delicious. But with Seymour Duncan, when you're an artist with us, it's not just you as the artist. It's your whole, you know, crew of people, and it really is a family with us. So Ace, thanks for stopping by,
Of course.
sir.
Thanks for having me again.
And guys, thanks for watching this, and we'll talk to you soon.